Welcome to Misala Productions. Here's my Scalebound thoughts. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of different stuff going on right now in the gaming community. A lot of ignorance, a lot of backlash, a lot of people that hide in the woodworks. All of a sudden they decided to come out and have opinions and comments and statements and ideals and thoughts about Microsoft and Xbox. Because, as we all know, it's all for negative reasons. To bring clickbaits to their channels. Because I'd never seen some of these people all year long even to acknowledge or talk about anything Xbox at any point. But I'm not going to name any names because I'm not going to give them that satisfaction. You know, as a real gamer, as a rooted gamer, I don't play those type of games. So, the topic, my thoughts on Scalebound. This is very difficult. First and foremost, I'm very sad by the news. Scalebound was not only a very highly anticipated game in my backlog of games that are supposed to come out this year for the Xbox One console, of course, from their exclusives, but it's being developed by probably one of my favorite developers of this generation that came out since the 360 era, which a lot of people honestly never followed and big fans because none of their games, and I repeat, none of their games have sold very well. Not even the Bayonetta franchise, which is Platinum Games, and that's what we're talking about here. Bayonetta 1, I think, only sold close to 2 million units, but it was a multi-platform game. That is why when Bayonetta 2 came to fruition and they announced that they were going to make it, the sequel, not Microsoft, not Sony, no one picked them up because it wasn't seen as a profitable decision to bring that game to the Xbox or, for that matter, the PlayStation platform. As you know, last generation was a lot easier to develop games for, perhaps a lot cheaper. So it was all about profit. A lot of games made money, a lot of games sold well, even multi-plats. That's the type of generation that the 8th generation was. This is now the 9th generation that we're in, I believe. Or it was the 7th. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But anyway, point in case, or point being, what do I think happened? Okay, I think and I feel that Scalebound started the production in 2004, maybe early or rather late 2013 when they started giving the SDKs to the developers. They made this deal. I don't know if it was a Don Matrix deal or if it was a Phil Spencer deal. Case in point, regardless, the game looked incredible and incredibly promising. Dragons are one of my favorite mythical creatures of all time. I love them. I love all types of dragon games. I'm a big fan of the Sega franchise of Panzer Dragoon, which a lot of people may or may not know, may have played. There was 5 in the series, or rather, 5 kind of, because one was a RPG, which was one of the best RPGs that I've ever played, and to be honest, it was, for me personally, better than Final Fantasy VII, which was the big hit at that time, which was Panzer Dragon Saga. Then came Panzer Dragon Ortha, which was for the OG Xbox, with the 12 or 11 game deal that Peter Matrick, or Peter Moore rather, excuse me, did for Microsoft with Sega. And I also like Lair on PS3, which I own. It only had the six-axis, you know, the six-axis control feature. You weren't able to really play with the buttons, analog, and later on they patched it up and they actually fixed that, and it made the game a lot more doable and playable. And I think that was great because a lot of people weren't used to the motion controlling. It kind of feels off, which is one of the problems with one of the newer Platinum games that people are facing. Um, that being said, on the Wii U, which is Star Fox, which a lot of people may or may not know, Platinum Games also was developing that game, or had part to do with the development of that Star Fox. In order to make it more action oriented. Um, so my thoughts are this: I see everybody really quick that's trying to point fingers at Phil Spencer and Microsoft, and I know it may look that way, but here I want to give a rational and logical and educated thought on the whole situation, rather than just bash both sides, Platinum or Microsoft, because I don't work for Microsoft and I don't work for Platinum Games. So I'm not going to sit here like a fool and say, yeah, this was Microsoft's doing, yeah, this was Platinum doing, because that's very irresponsible of me to do that, because I don't work for either company. And, I really don't know the truth or the whole story. But what it seems like and what it looks like, okay, my personal thoughts is, okay, first I'll start with what it seems like. What it seems like is that the team, okay, as people know, Platinum Game, it's not a very big development team. The team, um, I think it's about 35, 40 people maybe. I may be wrong, but I believe that's how much people are in the Platinum Banneker development team. And they have basically in the last 6 years have done 8 games back to back, and they even divided themselves to different parts into 2 teams to work in different projects for the different platforms. And I feel that because they've done this, it looks like, well, not that I feel, again, this is what it looks like from what I'm seeing. They overworked themselves, and the workload on Scalebound, being that it's a very ambitious game, is the first real world open world RPG, or I'm not going to say JRPG because it's not turn based, but it's a westernized RPG style with a Japanese flair because it's very anime style, very Platinum Games. It almost seems like Devil May Cry meets Panzer Dragoon. That's what I took from it. That's why I was so ecstatic and excited. It seems like the the team basically overworked themselves, and there was even ramblings and on the article that was released that they even got given a month off from development by Microsoft to I guess gather themselves up, get some rest, come back and start on the game. And when they came back, they started working on the game again, but they were still behind schedule for release, I guess, or maybe for E3 coming up, or maybe GDC, because I truly believe that Microsoft's goal was to have Scalebound as a what you would say as a launch title, perhaps for Xbox Scorpio, which is supposed to come out this year is sometime in the in the fall. I'm trying to get the image here. Sorry, people. In the fall. So, like I was saying, in the fall time, right? So basically, I believe because of that, um, they probably had to have everything in working order by E3 to show a finalized version of the game of the game with the combat system, and with everything up to snuff, whether it's frame rate or whatever the case may be, to give the actual release date for Scorpio when it came out. Now, remember this being such an ambitious game. It was a four-player co-op game. Four-player co-op. It was four-player co-op of in the campaign in itself, within itself. You would be able to also engage the powers of your dragon within yourself. You turn to some type of dragon creature or dragon man, if you will. Huge bosses the size of the screen, and even flying areas with combat while you're in the air. And perhaps maybe it's because they couldn't get the game to run right on the older Xbox hardware because of some of the bottlenecks of being already in an outdated console, because that happens. And then Microsoft's vision was to do the UWP, where it would play on all the consoles, whether it was the S, the first iteration of the Xbox One, or the Xbox Scorpio. And I think maybe this was one of the biggest problems, and they were trying to get it to work, and they couldn't. It said that they were overworked. They didn't have enough manpower, and if this is the case, I feel that maybe Platinum Games should have just retracted back from doing other games, since this was a big budget game, because Microsoft does not invest and put money in games of this nature without being or having a big purse behind it, obviously. I don't know how much they lost exactly, because it's been 4 years in the making, even though this was one of Komaya's vision to do this game since he first started in the video game industry, and nobody else had given them an opportunity to do it because it was going to be too costly. And he had the thoughts, I believe, since 2006, according to what he said before. So I think what happened, what people need to understand is Microsoft is not just video games. Microsoft is software and now hardware as well, as you know. And Microsoft has to follow and obey by the rules and the laws that are given from higher up. That's just one division. So they are given a certain amount of money every year for all types of games and all types of projects. And Platinum Games probably got enough leniency in the last 4 years, and they had to meet that deadline. And even if Phil Spencer didn't want to cut the budget and say bye and cut the whole project, if somebody from the higher up, like let's say Satya Nadella, tells them, listen, that's it, we're not going to keep funding this game. We need to reap the benefits of what we've been spending, and nothing's been shown, and they're not promising to have it done by E3 for Scorpio. That means we would have to delay it another year, and that's just not going to be worth the amount of money that we invested in the game so far. And so basically, they figured, well, let's cut our ties and cut our losses now before it gets worse. Because the other thing is, a lot of people kept saying, oh, this game's not going to sell. This game's not going to sell. This game's not going to sell. I beg to differ. I think the game would have absolutely sold, because it's very unique, very appealing, very enticing. It's 4 players in the campaign at the same time, which we haven't had a lot of games this generation particularly that offer this type of quality and caliber with 4 players in a campaign. So I think the game was actually going to sell better than people might have think and thought. Regardless of Platinum Games' back record, I think this was the game that was going to cement Platinum Games as a high-quality developer and put them on the map, where people were going to look at them with the difference and respect that they've been deserved for a very long time. And that was the best part about it. It had me hyped and excited, because that means if Platinum Games was big and renowned as one of the big developers, we would get a lot more games of this nature further in the future, whether it's exclusive on Wii, Switch, PlayStation 4, Pro, whatever. The point is they would have made a lot more games from this point forward. Now with this sad situation, I don't know if they'll even stay open and have their doors open, because their upcoming game Nier Automata, it's very good. I played it. The demo looks fantastic, but it's a smaller game. It's running on an older engine, maybe that you can run on the equivalent of a PS3 launch title or Xbox 360 launch title, was just with native 1080p and 60 frames, and it looks great. It looks fantastic, but you can tell that the purse and the pocket and the budget of this game is a lot smaller, and you can also tell and see the difference that the game is more level based. It's not open world, so the technicalities of the game are not really that difficult to tackle. Now, I also saw an article that they brought out that it said that Hideki Kamiya is suffering from some mental illness. This hasn't been confirmed, but this is something that a lot of people in the inside have said that that's what the word is around, that he's mentally ill and that has affected his team. Yesterday on social network, when they made the announcement, a couple hours later, he completely closed off the team, didn't talk to them on Twitter. He blocked everybody from his actual team, which is kind of odd. So I'm assuming that maybe this decision with the game came with him and Phil. He didn't want to talk about it. He didn't talk to his team about it. His team probably found out afterwards through social media, and he didn't want to deal with the repercussions of them telling him, hey, listen, man, what's going on? Why didn't you talk to us? You didn't say anything. What's the deal? Which is, it's sad. It's messed up because, these guys are a good development team, and I'm pretty sure they're dedicated to their work. Japanese people are very disciplined when they do stuff, and very hardworking. Not to say that there's not other developers that are like that. So, if this is the case, that the man is sick, then no man's health is should be jeopardized because of a game. We could always come back to a game and see if we can finish it. But I think because Scalebound was so high in production, Microsoft had to cut their losses and say, well, it's canceled. Because they could have said it was postponed, but I just think it wasn't budgetarily a good decision for them as a company. And if that's the case, then I can understand why the situation is. But I also feel that if it's not, it could be maybe also Platinum's fault, and these are my thoughts, that they oversaturated themselves in too many games because they're used to doing games kind of fast. Bayonetta being the only exception that I know of, because it took them kind of 6 years, part 2 rather, and part 1 in Vanquish I think took them like 3 years or 3.5 years, and something like that. And this is what happened. They got burnt out. Remember what they did? We're gonna run it down. They did Bayonetta 2, really quick here. They did Bayonetta 2. They did Wonderful 101, and they did Star Fox. These are for the Wii U. Three games. Then they did Korra for the Xbox Live Arcade and PSN. And then they did Transformers Devastation. They did Ninja Turtles. Now they're doing Nier Automata. And they're doing Scalebound. That's 8 games. 8 games that they were tackling within the last, like I said, 6 years. And Nier Automata, everybody thinks it's an exclusive. And the real reality is that they said that if the game sells well to, on PlayStation 4 and PC, that they want to bring the game to the Xbox One platform. Meaning that I guess they don't have enough money to bring it out to the 2 consoles at the same time and PC. So they're hoping that it does well on PS4 as well and the PC, so they can have enough money to also distribute the game out on the Xbox One platform, which is good because, I think it's right, because Nier Part 1 or Nier, however it may be pronounced, was on Xbox 360. It was completely different. It was more slow-paced. Actions, hack and slash, but more slow-paced. And it was also more RPG heavy in the elements of the RPG. I own the game. I'm waiting. I can show it in display once it's backwards compatible. So, with that being said, I just believe that this is really what the case is. It's not as sugar-coated and cookie cut, or however it may be, we may say, as it may look. And I'm not trying to damage control. I'm speaking like a wise, intelligent adult, trying to be civil and sensible about this situation. I'm not trying to do a video to get clickbaits on my channel to bash Microsoft or bash Platinum Games or Hideki Kamiya or Phil Spencer or anything like that. Because I'm not a game developer, I'm not working for them. I don't know what the real story is. And obviously, if it is about his health issues, this is something private that we cannot discuss and talk about in public, especially if he wants to keep it private. This is sad because I hope he gets better. That's really what I hope happens, so that he can come back and maybe perhaps pick up on the assets somewhere down the future and finish Scalebound and bring it back, maybe under another name, to the Xbox platform. Um, Even if he had to do it multi-platform, but the thing is, Scalebound, the name, the property, the IP was bought by Microsoft, so it is their property. So I don't think. I mean, they could also have some other developers come in that are professional and finish it. Me personally, I would have the guy from Pranzar Dragoon because he's done RPGs to do all the elements of the mythical lords of the dragons and the RPG elements and the story. And then the combat, I would probably hire Tobunobu Uegaki from Ninja Gaiden and Devil's Third to finish and do the combat system with Valhalla Games because they do incredible action games. So again, this is very sad news. It's very unfortunate. I know a lot of people think it's funny and it's great because it makes it look like Microsoft has less titles. But again, we don't know what other titles are in store for this year and beyond because E3 hasn't come. All the games that were coming out and scheduled for this year are the games that we've seen 2 and 3 years ago because Microsoft tends to have and show their games, in fruition based on the time frame of 1 to 3 years. They don't like to do it too far out for things like this. So things like this won't happen. That people get excited over a game and looking forward to it, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, boom, the game is had to be canceled. That's the same thing with Fable Legends. Fable Legends, they invested $75 million. It's been 5 years in production. A lot of the fans were like, they're not happy with the style of the game, even though the game was incredible. I played the beta. It was really nice. It was different. Looked gorgeous. I know that Scalebound was a big budget game because it was running and being produced on the Unreal Engine 4, which is DirectX 12 equivalent as well. Nobody can argue that. And like I was saying before, and the guys at Lionhead Studios, they had not produced any game that made Microsoft some money in quite a while. I believe since Fable 3, because they made the Fable Heroes fighting beat 'em up game for the arcade marketplace, and it was very good, but it really didn't sell well. Then after that, shortly after, they did the Fable Legends, which was for, or Fable the Journey rather, for the Kinect, which was also what I heard was decent. I own it, but I never played it. My son owns it. I bought it for him, but I never played it, which was what I heard was very good as well and didn't sell. So you're talking about back almost 8 years that Lionhead Studios has not been profitable for Microsoft. So with $75 million already invested in Fable Legends, and they were not be able to, they had no direction. The game wasn't done. They couldn't get him a certified date when it was going to be finished because Peter Molyneux left like 8 months before they canceled it. In that case, I feel the same thing. The developers, once Peter Molyneux left, lost direction, lost a sense of where they had to go or how to finish it. They didn't know how to finish it, and Phil saw this and had to make a tough decision based on Satya's Nadala's call as well, because $75 million is a lot of money. I can only imagine what they probably spent to this point for Scalebound. So again, those are my thoughts on the Scalebound situation. I hope that this is a more educated point of view, and that you guys realize that. I'm not a fanboy in a negative way. I'm a fanboy in that I love Xbox, but I'm a gamer first and foremost. I do own other consoles, the PlayStation 4 and a lot more. But Microsoft's Xbox One console is my favorite console to this point. But I'm not going to sit here and bastardize people that are human beings, that are professionals, that deserve to be treated with more respect from other people and outlets that are bigger than mine, and YouTube and social media, making a mockery out of this and throwing in directs, saying little stupid comments, trying to be funny and bastardize and criticize Microsoft or perhaps even Platinum Games. but everybody's pointing fingers mainly at Microsoft. I know it's a tough pill to swallow because a lot of people were looking forward to it, but it is what it is. This is the nature of the beast, the nature of gaming, and it really sad and it sucks. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, comment, and share it, obviously. And subscribe if you want to. And remember, if you subscribe, I'm very grateful because you become part of my family. And, Xbox for life, like a sickness that cannot be cured. That's my saying. That's my slogan. And that is how I feel. Shout outs to all my friends and members at intromediagaming.com. Mr. 100, Tuckmaster, Mr. Eon, Cyclonus, Sure Enough, Pop Off Gaming, Podhead Gaming, just to name a few. And at my gaming Facebook group with my boy, New Legal Felon, Dorian Rock, okay, and Sean Long, my God, forgive me for Sean Murray, I think it is, Christoph, Ricardo Vasquez, and Mike, my boys over there. Shout outs to them. It's a beautiful gaming group. You're welcome to join, but remember, we only accept mature gamers and not trolls that are going to be disrespectful and attack family or do stupid memes or things that are distasteful and immature, for that matter. You want to do that? There's other gaming groups out there for that. So again, let me know your thoughts. Shout outs to my family and my wife. I love them very much for putting up with all my, videos and me being in their way, and giving me support in my channel. Shout outs also to my homies in Xbox Live, like Iron Wolf. Well, I can't really say that anymore, can I? But Ghost Rider and Kaleida, Jay Long, and Master Chief, and Merc, Tuck, Warsack, NWO Prime, Sega Forever, E-Rock 8150, Kiss Move, all these wonderful people out there. Kenny Thomas, I'm glad to see him back in the scene. Shout outs to all of them. These guys are all great, great friends. Livewire, Lady Foxfire, Console Corner, Crap Gamer. All these guys do their thing for the sake of Xbox, for the sake of gaming. And they all deserve the love they get because they work hard. We may not agree with them, same way you guys may not agree with me, but they work hard, and it is what it is. They do it because they love gaming, and that's what it should all be about. That's what makes gaming unique. Guys, be good. Love you. I hope my rant didn't bore you, and you learned something. Peace. Shout out DX Mansion and Intro Media. Mi sala is closed.